I have taken all my money out of the stock market.
Welcome back to the 6th episode of the Potato Finance Podcast. I am here with two long-lost friends, James Fiske and Jake Ricci. And this is actually a very monumental moment in the podcast. This is the first time we're having a trio on here. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
I'm doing great, dude. It's great to be here.
Yeah, excited to be on with you.
Yeah.
You can grab the mic from me. I don't have to spoon feed it to you.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of technical difficulties. This is, I guess, more of a skeleton operation we're running here because I only have two mics and I can only fit two into my computer, which is what I use to record this audio that you guys listen to on this podcast. But guys, let's start off with kind of a little bit about you guys. And a reason I wanted to have you guys on, which we'll talk about in a minute, is pertaining to your podcast. But why don't you just tell everyone watching or listening kind of like who you are, how we know each other, just kind of like the basics.
Yeah, sure. I'll lead it off. James Fiske, one of the hosts of the Lock Market podcast. Me and Josh go way back. I think rec basketball days. Josh was always the tallest kid on the team, so he would just bully kids down low. And it wasn't fun playing against him, being a shorter player. But
I was kind of like Brooke Lopez. I didn't really like to play big. I just kind of like to shoot.
Yeah,
wasn't very
good.
He
could step out to the 3-point line.
Yeah, I forgot about Fenton's range actually back in the day. I'm Jake Ricci. We used to be old teammates back at Exeter West Greenwich, Scarlet Knights. So that's about how we know each other, and it's good to see you again.
That's all you have to say about yourself?
Yeah, no, there's not much.
Not that important.
We're everyday guys. If you'll figure that out probably throughout the podcast, that we're just guys that roll up our sleeves and get to cast it.
Just like to get to work. But the reason I wanted to have you guys on, and I really got the idea from when you guys started your own podcast, and I was thinking that'd probably be good like cross-networking material. And I kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit because I always like to have people on who like start those sort of things, whether it's a YouTube channel, a podcast, any sort of side hustle, and really, I guess, get more of like the underlying reasons, like why you guys started it, what like attracted you to it. So you guys want to touch upon that a little bit, really just go over why you decided to start a podcast.
Yeah, totally. We decided that we were going to start a podcast after talking about it for probably 5 years. We were like, all right, we can do this.
5 years.
We're like, we can do this. We're funny enough people. Like, we can say some stuff and people will listen. And we just kept putting it off and kept putting it off and kept putting it off. And it got to a point where we were like, all right, either we have to put up or shut up. Like, can't keep talking about it. Right. We got to do it.
Well, I think also the idea started at URI when we were living together. We had a radio show at RIU2. It was like an online radio show. It was almost like a podcast format, but it was difficult because there was no editing involved. It was recorded live. So we had 1 hour to fill.
What was it about?
That was a sports show.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So we would talk whatever it was, Celtics, Patriots, URI, college hoops, whatever it was. And that's kind of where the idea started for me anyways, because it was fun, So a lot of it is just having fun, getting some thoughts out and seeing where it goes.
Yeah, I find like a lot of people, like they say they want to do this, they want to do that, like they want to start something, but then it just doesn't happen because it's so like a podcast especially, it's so easy because like look at this setup like we have here. We've got a camera, a couple of lights, then a couple of microphones and a laptop. Like things, I mean the lights and the mics you probably don't have, but a camera, a lot of people have those lying around, and it's really something that I guess you could start at really any point, and it's just so I guess different to actually think about doing it and then taking that step to really starting it. So where do you guys kind of want to go with this podcast? Like, do you have a vision you have in mind, or are you just strictly doing it like just to kind of get on the mic and talk a little bit a couple times a week?
Well, I want to kind of touch on what you were saying a second ago. Like, to you, like this might seem bare bones, but to someone who's never done anything technological before, this is a steep learning curve to do. Like, if you're a person that doesn't know cameras, doesn't know computers, doesn't know microphones, and wants to come on and create their own podcast, like, how the hell are they going to be able to start it?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because I didn't start with, I guess, I wouldn't say I have like a great background of, photography and all of that, but I would say better than average, and I definitely didn't start like that, and I guess it kind of took off from like starting the YouTube channel and just like starting with that, and then I built momentum over time. I was able to work my way up to this high quality production that you see in front of us today.
No, this to someone that if they had never been around this before, this is an intimidating setup. Like being in front of the camera, being in front of the lights and stuff like that.
I've had people on that have said that they're just like, yeah, we'll just come over. It's like a conversation, and then like I think it's like the lights, and then the majority of people are camera shy. Like that's like a big thing. I
Yeah.
mean, everyone's like that. It's just not normal to talk in front of a camera.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
our podcast is all audio, so like me having to like glance into the camera every once in a while is wildly uncomfortable.
Really?
I'm just
that surprises
like,
me.
I'm just like I'm talking to you, and then it feels like someone's looking at me right there. So
Now, how come you guys don't have video in your podcast? I know we talked a little bit about that before we started recording, but what is the main reason that you guys don't have any video?
laziness.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you really need to have video in your podcast for what we were talking about before, because YouTube has more of an algorithm. And like when you guys listen to a podcast, do you watch it or do you listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music?
We listen to it on Spotify and Apple.
Do you really?
Yeah.
See, I don't. I don't know too many people like that. I almost always watch it on YouTube. Always.
I pretty much, specifically, if I'm listening to a podcast, it's while I'm driving. So
Fair. That's fair.
Mostly, I'm on Spotify or Apple Podcast. That's just me, though. I don't know.
And you're in like the YouTube community though, so like
Right.
a lot of the people that you're talking to are YouTubers. Like
That also makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I feel like when you have video with your podcast, it's easier to be like more personable. Like people can like see the reactions, like that type of thing. I guess relate more as opposed to like on audio, you might not, I guess, get that same exact thing. I also feel like I'm more likely to watch it on YouTube because of the thumbnails. Because if I see like a thick 6 thumbnail of like maybe someone I know or maybe someone I've heard of, I'm like, well, let me go click on that and watch it. As opposed to like on Spotify, I might not have the same, I guess, thing going on there.
you don't get sick of those like clickbaity thumbnails where everyone's like doing the same face. They're like, oh my god,
Kinda.
Yeah.
I
Like,
actually-
that doesn't make you sick sometimes.
I think some people actually just use the same exact picture. Like, to
Yeah.
be honest, like I think they take it once and then they'll upgrade it like as the years go on. But I think they just use that same exact picture for like every single thumbnail.
Yeah, it drives me nuts because I've specifically not clicked on videos, even though I knew I would enjoy them, because the picture is just so annoying to me. I don't want to click on it.
I think it depends on the thumbnail, because sometimes I think the same thing, like just that face. I'm just like, all right, dude, there's no way it's that shocking. But then there's sometimes like I've seen some that are like really well done. Like you can tell like that Photoshop had a very, very big part in that, and it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, I can't help but click on it. But where do you guys see your podcast going? Like, do you want to have sponsors eventually? Is this just, like I said before, just something for fun, or?
This is for you.
Oh wow! All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you. That's a great question. For me, right now, we're so early on in the process. Like we just started this thing a couple months ago,
Right.
And our following is like our friends,
Right, yeah.
So it's tough to say, where we see it going. Like, obviously, you want to see it be successful,
Right, obviously.
But as far as like realistic expectations, I'm not sure. Sponsorships and that kind of thing, and like actually making money off of it. If that's to come, I don't know. You know?
Yeah, I feel like it's when you first start, it's like that should be like one of the last things you're thinking about. I
Right.
know I just asked you that, so it might seem a little counterintuitive, but I feel like if you get caught up in like all the money and all this things, and I guess where you really want it to go, you're gonna probably get just sick of that you're where you are right now. So it's
Yeah, for us right now, at least for me, anyways, like it doesn't feel like a job at all. Like it doesn't even
That's
feel.
good.
Like
That's how it should feel.
It's
And it's mostly because we're not making any money.
Yeah.
It's like, if we were making money, it would feel like a job.
But obviously, you want to see it grow. You want to see it become successful.
right.
Which is that's what we're trying to do. That's a goal.
Right.
But, as far as like numbers that we want to see, and when we want to see those numbers, that's all kind of in the air at this point, I think.
Right. Now, what exactly is your podcast about? Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Repeat that for me.
What is your podcast about exactly? Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think that this is like, we do sports. We feature sports pretty heavily, but
Right.
we're not getting into the X's and O's.
Right.
Because I don't think that the person that tunes into, 6 o'clock Sports Center is looking for that.
Right.
And we're gonna take an angle that a lot of people aren't taking, and we're gonna make fun of almost everything that happens.
That's funny.
Like, I don't care how serious the situation is. Well, I mean, obviously we're not gonna get distasteful, but like Chris Paul being all excited, he's in the finals, blah 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 blah. We're not gonna bow down to him.
I felt kind of
We're-
bad for him. Like, gets to the conference finals, homeboy gets COVID.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of sucks. Like,
Woe is me. Woe is me. I don't feel bad for Chris Paul at all, because he's a millionaire, and I get, like, come on. He's a Hall of Famer before even dreaming about the NBA Finals.
Right.
Who cares if he gets a ring? I don't care. I mean, and I think that's the thing about the podcast is we don't care really what happens. Like, we care about our sports teams and we have takes, but at the end of the day, we're here to kind of take the seriousness out of sports.
Right. Like kind of like a Barstool Sports type thing, more or less.
Yeah, I think that's almost the direction we're taking it. Like a Barstool-esque,
Right,
type of podcast. Yeah.
Now, have you thought about doing maybe when football comes back, like anything like fantasy football related, maybe like a separate like episode?
Funny story,
dedicated to
Josh.
that.
So the name of the lock market was dreamt up as if we were a sports gambling show.
Oh, really?
We're going to be giving out locks.
Right.
Like it's the stock market.
Right.
But it's the lock market. So the problem...
That's what that...
You never knew that, huh?
This whole time, I was like, what the hell is a lock market? I could not figure it out. This name sucks, but now I kind of like the name.
Yeah, no. So the idea behind it was basically, you're making money off stocks. You got guys that are giving you stock advice. We're
Right.
going to give you lock advice.
Right.
But the problem is nice. I'm glad you were intelligent enough to put that together. Thank you.
Oh, baby.
I really picked out a really good co-host,
I
huh?
asked you about the name a few times, and you never said that before.
I was waiting for the right platform to let this one
Here we
fly.
are. Breaking news.
Yeah. But yeah, I was going to start as a sports gambling show, and the problem is we only record once with our schedules once a week.
Right.
So by the time you're getting the stuff from us, like if it was gambling advice, it's already old. The games, so that's why we can't really attack this from like a serious breakdown thing, because by the time you're getting the news from us, you already know the news. So
Right.
we got to run and kind of make storylines ourselves.
Right.
Maybe running jokes, stuff like that, so that people, when they're tuning in, maybe a couple days after the news, they're still entertained by what we have to say.
Have you ever thought about doing like maybe any sort of like, and this would probably be if you went down like the YouTube route and started putting like video in there, like maybe something from like something that's live, like and kind of giving your like initial feedback to things?
Yeah, that would be cool. Sort of like maybe like a Twitch stream or something
Exactly.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be cool. I always thought I would be good as a color commenter until I start trying to do that at home, and then realize how terrible and hard that job is.
It's much harder than it looks.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you see guys on TV like do that, and they're just like, oh, that's easy. I can do that. Like just break down the game. But it's not that easy to just constantly fill silence for like 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah,
Like
it's one of those things with the Twitch streaming is like we would probably be really bad at it for the first couple of times, and then once you get it under,
yeah, like with anything, like you just
Yeah.
get used to it. You get in like a routine. You just
Yeah.
are able to pick it up.
I think too with that stuff, like for me, when I was younger, I used to really pay attention. Like I knew everybody's names. I knew like the numbers, the names, positions, all that stuff. And as I've gotten older, like I've really stopped paying attention to all of that.
It's much harder as you get older because you just have other priorities going on.
If I were gonna try to sit down and do like that type of thing, I would be like dead in the water. I wouldn't
Right.
know the names.
Right.
know?
Exactly. Like some of these guys are like talking like you'll see like Reggie Miller on TNT talking about like the 18th guy off the bench for the
Right.
Lakers. It's just like, how can you possibly tell me you've watched enough film on him to have that opinion? Like how?
it's literally like our dads would do like on the sidelines at rec basketball when they didn't know everyone's name. They would just yell out numbers.
Yeah, right.
Like, hey, 1-5, let's go. Come on,
1-5.
pick it up. It's like, oh, I just went a little loud. I'll keep it down. But let's go 3-6. Like, you're blowing the game. Like, I don't know if that's what we're suited for.
Right.
We're suited for, like, I mean, we do a decent amount of prep. Like, I'm sure I'm writing jokes in my head when I'm watching games, and he's seeing what he can pick
Right.
up and think of something funny during the games that he's doing. Live, I mean, that's different. Seth Rogen's not good at stand-up comedy,
Yeah,
it's
you got
two
that
completely different ball games.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, so let's switch gears a little bit here. I want to talk about Waveform Media. So this is going to be a little bit more pertaining to you. So
All right.
why don't you break that down?
I'll snag
Tell
on.
us-
I'll hold this mic for a
Yeah,
little
Ricci,
bit.
go get a water or something.
yeah.
Why don't you tell everyone what it is, and you have the floor. It's all you, Fiske.
Yeah, Waveform Media is my little baby of a company. It's just starting out really within the past year. Got the LLC in the works right now. But basically it's a video production company. And I do a lot of work with nonprofits and stuff. So even when videos are being priced out for nonprofits, they're unbelievably expensive.
Right.
Like I'm talking like my company comes in and wants to do, this is my separate company that I work for outside of Waveform. They come in, they're going to do a video for you. They're not touching it for less than 10 grand.
Right.
And that prices out a lot of small companies.
Right. Yeah.
That want video content.
Right. Because that 10 grand to some, it's not a lot of money, but to some, it's like that's a good chunk of their budget. Like, absolutely.
And they don't know what really goes into it. Like, you do video, you know what goes into the back end of it.
Oh my God, yeah, I can only imagine like a much more like professional scene. Like, it must be like insane, like the amount of time, the amount of effort, like the amount of money that goes into that.
So I decided that I was going to start it because like there just seemed like there was so much like money over the top that gets thrown into this budget that doesn't need to be thrown into the budget. And I can come in as someone that's not lowballing, but come in and just gonna give you a real price with no frills.
Right, that's like affordable to everyone else. Right.
Like, I'm not gonna be Martin Scorsese, and I'm not doing Goodfellas for you for a cheap price, but I'll come in and it'll give you a really good product for a lower price. And I feel like that's something that there's an open market for that in video, because overall, I don't think companies have any idea how much this stuff costs.
I don't think so either. Yeah. Absolutely not. How did you get interested in filmmaking anyway, and like photography? Have you always been interested in that, or?
I've always been pretty interested, but like I kind of like dumb lucked my way into getting into video and stuff. I was going to be a marketing major, and I was a marketing major when I went to school in freshman year. And when I transferred school, like my math credits didn't transfer because the last college wasn't mathematically accredited, which is ridiculous.
That sounds like a lot of fun to be dealing with that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a college. It doesn't seem like a college should have a non-accredited math program to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the one thing you need to have accredited is probably your math program.
Like, I don't know where you went, but like if they can transfer from like say CCRI, how can there be a college that's not as qualified? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
But so I transferred to URI, and the math credits didn't transfer, and I would have had to take calculus again, and I wasn't touching calculus again. So I was like, all right, for the time being, let's just go into film. Let's take a couple film classes, be a film major for a little bit. And I kind of fell in love with it. Started realizing I was actually kind of good at it. I was never good at calculus. Yeah. So I was like, this is already an easy thing to go with, and it just kept snowballing. Got one job that was around a film festival, got another job where I was the video marketing specialist, and then it kind of snowballed, and then here I am.
Now, did you mainly just learn to do all of this editing, creating the website, like all those things just from school, or did you do how much research did you have to do on your own compared to school?
So I mean, you get a decent education in film class, but it's literally nothing you can't learn off YouTube.
Right.
You can learn everything you want to learn when it comes to video off YouTube.
Right.
Creating a website, that's something I kind of like just went at. I hit my face on the wall a couple times while I was doing it, but like kind of just kept plowing through, and then you know how to make a website at the end of it.
I was looking at it before I sent you guys the what we're going to talk about, the script for today, or the script, whatever it's called, the demo, whatever. Words slipping my mind right now. But it looks really well done. Where did you go through to get that? Did you use Bluehost, I think it's called, or did you use Squarespace? Or
yeah, so I just use Wix. I just go in.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people don't like using those like pre-made like WordPress websites and stuff like that. But you can get something excellent from that.
Yeah.
It's really, and I mean, everyone says learn how to code, learn how to code, learn how to code. For the most part, you don't need to learn how to code to make a website.
I don't think so either. I think it might. I mean, depending on what you're going for, like I guess a smaller market type thing, it makes more sense to go that route. If you're like, I don't know, something much bigger than that, like someone maybe that has like millions and millions of a following, then maybe it makes a little bit more sense to go the coding route. But chances are, if you're that big, you would just hire someone to code for you. Like you wouldn't, wouldn't be doing like the coding yourself, because that just takes too much time. Like you can definitely allocate your time better.
Also, I'm not good at math, like I said before. So like, there's no chance. I'll look at zeros and ones and I'll want to jump out a window.
Coding is like so interesting. Like I took a couple of coding courses on Udemy. It's like Python's like a completely different language. Like it's like Spanish times 10. Yeah. Like it's insane.
No thanks. I have a hard enough time with English.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Now, what type of clientele do you have? What do you mainly do?
So, I mean, it's a small company. I'm not going to lie to all you people at YouTube and say that I'm swimming in clients. But a lot of schools, I've done a couple different videos for schools. I've done videos for friends of mine that own companies, stuff like that. You just really need to get a reel going. That's just like a bunch of work that you can cut together that you can show to a bigger client that you can get the job done.
Right.
So that's kind of what it is right now, is just accumulating work and accumulating work.
Right. Just takes time.
Wherever you can get it in. So it just takes time. Yeah.
Now, have you ever thought about going down the route of when you're working with different schools doing like maybe some sort of sports thing or anything like that?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's just different. It's just different equipment that you need, you know? So it's like, if you're going to be a sports photographer and stuff like that, you need like just a whole closet full of telephoto lenses, long lenses that you can sit up in the stands and snag a good picture from. And it's just really cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. So.
Yeah, I work with a woman and she said she has like tens of thousands of dollars worth of like cameras, lenses, and that's not chump change by any means, you know?
Yeah, like I have tens of thousands of dollars of equipment, and I would need tens of more thousands of dollars of equipment to get into something like that. So you have to find out pretty early what your niche is going to be.
Yeah, it's just so crazy that it's like you need all these lenses, all these things. There's not like one like universal thing that can do it all. Like I've always thought that, but I've always really liked like photography and filmmaking ever since we were in high school. But it's cool because there's so many things that you can do with it. Like there's so many different pathways you can go down, and there's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
Like I've been playing around with Photoshop, like game changer. Like it's like insane how cool it is. Like the fact that you can just like erase someone out of the picture. Like I think that's like awesome.
You can change history in Photoshop.
Literally, like it's insane. Like sometimes like I'll make like little changes to like a thumbnail or something, and I'll be like, I feel like I didn't even do anything. It looks the exact same. Then I'll go back to the original picture. It's like a completely different picture.
Yeah.
Like it's wild. But you do that part-time right now, right?
Well, yeah, I do that business part-time. But full-time, I do video marketing and stuff like that. So it's just branching off and making it my own.
Right.
Because, you know, everyone gets sick of making their boss's money.
Right. Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, why does that money just go in my pocket directly? I can do what they do.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just working on that.
And how long have you been doing that for, you said?
6 years now.
Really?
The company's only about a year old, but I've been working with film and on film sets and all of the sorts for about 6 years. Yeah.
Nice. Did you watch any? Is there any like one video that sticks out in your mind that kind of like you watched when you were first starting to learn that really helped you along the way? Or
Yeah,
I know that's like tough putting you on the spot like that, but
let me go through my YouTube history in my mind. The history can get dark in there too. You can get down. You can get down rabbit
get
holes.
Archived.
But, yeah. But yeah, there's just a lot of creators out there, and it's a shame that they don't get as much love as NYU Film School gets.
Right.
But you can learn, like I was saying, you can learn everything from these people online. Film creators. It's like a better quality of education, I think, because it literally is like he's talking right to you, and
right.
It's not a professor talking to a class, and then, hey, here's a camera, go out and do something.
Right.
So it's like these guys are telling you, it's almost like you have a professor like on your computer screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a desire to do that full time, assuming it picks up?
Yeah. The problem is, like, I mean, if I can get some videos and eventually you upscale to the point where I don't have to go and do the dirty work of setting up the lights every time and setting up the sound, setting up the camera myself every time, maybe I'll have a couple people doing that for me.
That's the thing. That's another thing. Like, I was thinking that, like, actually before you guys got here, as I was setting all this stuff up, I'm like, man, it'd be so much more helpful if I could, like, hire someone to do, like, all those little things that add up for me. Yep. Because it's some of the B-roll I shoot, it's like, it takes a lot of time to, like, all right, let's go set up the camera. Let's go walk over here to make sure it's set up right. Oh, it's set up wrong. Let's go reset up the camera. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time. Like, sometimes it can take hours to set up B-roll for, like, something even simple that I have. Never mind, like, a wedding or anything like that.
Like, one shot, you have something going on. Like, I was doing something for a school the other day, and the boom mic that I was using, like, fell into the frame. And That's annoying. I was at the other camera. So I had two cameras set up, and it fell into the camera here. So I couldn't see that it was in the camera. I recorded the whole thing with the boom mic in it.
Dang.
And I had to go back and like go almost frame by frame and get it out of there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That sounds super, super annoying.
Yeah, very annoying.
Does that happen often, like those kind of errors?
If anyone's trying to hire me, no, it doesn't. But, but no, it's just like stuff that you're going to look, if you're a one-man band, you're going to look over it.
Right.
You're going to look past it, and then all of a sudden you get back, and you didn't have your audio recording set exactly where you are. So now you have to go in and post and go through all of that work. And it's really cool. It's something that I'd want to do full time, but there is like a limit to the insanity you can put yourself through.
Right, absolutely. Especially when you're a one-man band.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears again here. Let's talk a little bit about investing.
Yeah, let's get my man Rich on the microphone here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Richie.
How's that feel back in your
I'm
hands?
yeah, nice. I'm the investing guy. All right, sweet.
So I got this idea about talking about investing when Fiske told me about his fantastic losses.
Yeah,
So
let me get this right back.
No, we can get Richie on here first. So how deep are you? I guess you, Richie, we'll start with you. How deep are you into investing? Do you have like a lot of investments? Do you like to invest or?
Yeah, so I don't know. It's tough to say how deep I am, like comparatively to somebody else. I don't know if I'm like a regular or if I'm investing more than average. But I've got a couple IRAs and then I do like a little bit of stock stuff.
Day trader? You do any day trading?
No day trading for me. I'm not. No.
Day trading is very stressful from my experience.
Yeah, day trading is just like gambling. Like it's pretty much like turning on the Red Sox and you're okay. Are they going to score this inning? I don't know. Maybe.
I've always thought that, but people have really broken it down for me to the point where I'm like, all right, I could see why someone could actually like make a lot of money doing this, but at the same time, it's really hard to get to that point where you feel really confident doing it.
I think another thing with day trading is you need a lot of money to make any money.
That's the thing. Like, it's easy to make like $20-$30 in a day, but if you want to day trade, you got to do it while the market's open, which is during normal business hours when most people work.
Yeah, I played golf with a kid not too long ago. We just got partnered up, and he was saying he was day trading full time for a living. He said he was able to like quit his full time job where he was working and just day trade. And I'm like, I feel like I just wouldn't be able to do that because I'm always like, I don't think you should invest like full time unless you're like, all right, I'm retired, I'm done, I have enough money for the rest of my life. But I don't think you should worry about bringing in like 60, 70, 80K a year just to feed your family. You know what I mean?
It's at that point too. Like you're gonna say, "Oh, I'm retired and I day trade now." No, not really. You're not retired. You're working every day.
Right.
Like that's work.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not like you're just sitting around, playing golf every day.
Right.
So I don't know.
Do you have any like favorite stocks that you've like bought recently or?
You know what? A couple weeks ago, I was introduced to Saba. It's a pharmaceutical company, and that one is blowing up right now. I don't know what it's doing over the past week or so, but a month or so ago, it really started rocketing, and I missed out. I did not buy any of it, so I just watched it go up.
See, I have a tough time with like the pharmaceutical sector because I feel like there's really limited growth in that industry, like from a stock price appreciation perspective. So, and it's like I feel like I've always had a hard time understanding them. Like all these new drugs, like this could change the world, that could change the world.
Yeah.
That's just over my head. So I've always avoided that.
I'm with you with the pharmaceutical companies. I stay away from those, especially. There's constant lawsuits, so it's you're always at risk of like, oh well, it's over now.
Yeah, right. Like completely ridiculous. All right, Fiske, let's hear about some of these great losses.
Yeah, and another thing with the pharmaceuticals is like those world-changing drugs never change the world.
Right, like it's yeah.
How many times has there been a cure for AIDS or HIV, and then all of a sudden that one didn't pan out, and then 5 years later, oh, we got another one, and that didn't pan out. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, you know how many times I've heard people say like, all right, this company, they've got this new drug they're working on. I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll just stick to Advil for now.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, Fiske. So how about you? What have you invested in? What maybe great losses have you taken? What you have the floor.
Yeah,
Let's hear your side of this.
Yeah, so I gave the mic to Ricci first because I have taken all my money out of the stock market.
Really?
Because I'm just getting PTSD every time I log on to the Robinhood app. But basically, it all started, the magical downfall started, I want to say summer last year. Remember Kodak shot up out of nowhere?
Oh, boy.
And they call it like a pump and dump and whatever.
Boy.
So I got into that early. I did get into it kind of early. It was still on its way up. I put, I don't know how much money, but a decent chunk of change into Kodak. Took a meeting. By the time I came out of the meeting,
No.
I had lost my entire investment.
Oh, my God.
It plummeted. It was a course of an hour and a half.
You must have been like freaking out. You must have been like, this app's wrong. Like, there's no way this is actually like right. Like,
it's like I didn't even know I invested that much, and I'm minus that much.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So I started with that, and I was like, all right, well, I'm taking all my money out. So I take all my money out, and then I get a tip. And I was on like Wall Street Bets before Wall Street Bets was like making people money. It was just before that, it was just taking money out of people's pockets,
right,
consistently. So I log on, and it's like coming up on battery day for Tesla. right? And someone hits in the Wall Street Bets thing. This guy's been hot. And he goes, you have to invest in Vale. It's called Vale, and they mine cobalt. It's all stuff that's over my head.
I've never even heard of that, to be honest. That's over my head, too.
They're like, they mine cobalt, and you need so much cobalt for Tesla batteries. I was like, duh.
I knew that.
How did I not? Why didn't anyone think of that? That's so obvious. And like they were breaking it down like Elon Musk's tweet. Like he said, he's like, oh, on battery day, I'm going to unveil new technology. So everyone's like, duh, like he's dropping hints. This guy's a genius. I was like, you're right. It's like, you're right. So I put like as much money as I could reasonably think to put into this. And my mistake is I didn't quite understand call options. So I thought I was buying like $4 or $5 grand of stock.
No, it's 100 underlying shares.
Bingo.
No, people don't know that. Most people don't know that.
And actually, I have a take on Robinhood. Very predatory behavior by even letting people do that. Like an everyday Joe trader.
Did you have to, I guess, get approved before you bought any of the option contracts?
All of a sudden, I was just approved. Like someone said, like, oh, buy a bunch of call options for this company. And, like, I went to click on it, and I really didn't have to. I must have done it all before, just clicking through. But I just clicked on it, and I could buy as many shares or as many calls as I wanted. It was very dangerous. So, basically, I'm sure everyone knows at home, but you're making a giant bet. I would never make a $4,000 sports bet. I would never put $4,000 on the Pats on Sunday.
Right.
Because you're just gambling. So, yeah, I put like $4 grand on Vale to go up in like 2 weeks. And it went up for like a minuscule amount of time. And then it just kept going down over the course of 2 weeks. And I was like, should I sell? Should I sell? And everyone's like, don't sell, don't sell, don't sell. And eventually it gets towards the end of the contract. And I think I made like $400 back on a $4,000 investment.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty terrible. You want to see my Robinhood app, like what it looks like right now?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
Can I go off camera for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Is it?
You're gonna be shocked.
Watch this. So this is just today. I put a quarter in Tesla, and lately it's brought me back. I'm up big time. I'm almost doubled my money.
Oh my god.
But all time,
Oh wow, dude.
it just drops
Down 99%.
Yeah, I'll get you a screenshot of that. You can put that into the video.
Oh, I will. You guys will see that on the screen. Like,
It's pretty drastic.
That's crazy. And you said the option contract that you owned, it expired in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
See, those are like really risky. I own one call option right now, but I think it's expires in 2023. But I would only buy like far out call options. I
didn't even know that was an option.
Really?
Yeah.
Until just now?
Just now.
Oh, yeah, you can buy them 2
I'm
years
too
out.
dumb.
So like
much too dumb.
around
for
the
stock
fall
market.
time, like kind of like probably around like Thanksgiving, maybe give or take a month, they'll have the call options come out for 2 weeks in the future.
Yeah.
So in this like Thanksgiving, they'll come out for 2024.
Yeah.
But those are like attractive sometimes, because sometimes you can get a stock like Facebook that's just like stupidly undervalued, where it's like, all right, it'd be stupid for me not to put money into these call options because it's going to go up over the next couple of years.
Well, the whole thing was like battery day was 2 weeks away. So they're like, by the time battery day comes around, you're going to make your money back.
Do you remember
hand
what
over
the premium was on that?
No.
You don't remember?
Nope.
Yeah.
It's but it's okay because you log into Wall Street Bets like the next day and you see that someone's lost $150,000 in one day.
Wall Street
So it
Bets
made me
like,
feel fine. I was like, I did lose a decent amount of money, but I was like, I could be this sucker.
Yeah.
You know, who just literally probably lost his wife and kids.
Like, imagine if you had like a family and kids and doing that. Like, what happened, Fiske? I don't know. Battery day didn't go well.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know how I feel about Wall Street Bets. I feel like it's kind of like a blessing and a curse. On one end, I think it's cool that I guess the stock market's getting more attention from like the average Joes. But on the other end, it's like there's people, like you said, losing hundreds of thousands of dollars that can't afford to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that?
I think more now than ever, there's people that are getting involved in like stock exchanges that
I agree.
had no interest ever before, and I think the pandemic had a huge
I agree.
role to play in that. People were out of work, just kind of sitting around watching.
Yeah, all this money's being pumped out, and it's like I can't bet on sports. There's no sports going
Yeah.
on, so it's like I might as well see what's going on in the stock market because that's still open.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, people were making a ton of money, so you're just watching everybody around you making money.
Yeah.
and you want to be a part of it. So it is. I think it's like you said. It's good. It's good and bad. It's good. For the most part, it's a good thing to be investing.
Right.
You know? But you don't want to see people throwing their lives away.
Right, absolutely not. Like that one. What was it?
Hot take.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on one of the podcasts I recorded, and someone on Robinhood, there was some lag or something. I'm butchering this really badly, I know, but he was like, I think it was like $750,000 like in debt, and he ended up killing himself. Like,
Oh
did
my
you guys
God,
see
yeah,
that?
I did see
Like
that.
insane, right?
And it's like he bought call options too. Like,
Right.
I very well could have been this guy. Like
I am this guy.
If I held that contract for another day, that you would have been reading my name in the news. But basically, he read like the call options, and like you were never, especially on Robinhood, because they hold the actual call options themselves.
Right.
So you're never liable. He thought that he had to pay $750,000.
Right. It was a big misunderstanding. I do remember
Yeah,
that.
like
It sucks even more.
he just lost his original investment. I think he invested like I don't know, $10,000, $20,000. Like,
Right.
Yeah, you're out that. But the way it was reading is as if he had to pay for however many calls he bought times 100. So he thought that he had to pay them $750,000. So he just killed himself.
I really don't like Robinhood.
No.
I am not a fan of it at all. I think it wouldn't surprise me if this IPO, when Robinhood goes public, is one of like the most shorted stocks.
Yeah.
Like when it goes public, like ever.
Isn't it weird that like a stock company can be traded on the stock market? Doesn't that feel weird? That's Inception.
I've never really thought of it that way, but I guess I can see how someone can say it's a little like counterintuitive, a little odd. Like
Yeah.
that makes sense to me.
Well, I mean, you can invest in banks, so why can't you?
That's
invest in
true.
Robinhood,
Yeah,
you know?
that's a good point.
Like I feel like they could like skew like the way they show data. Like they have to show the right data, but
Right.
maybe they could show it in a different way. That, you know how like casinos will play happy music to keep you spending money.
Yeah.
Like maybe they could like show the data in a different way that people are like, oh, they're doing way better than they actually are. Let me dump some money into Robinhood. Like I feel like they could manipulate in ways that you don't even think they can manipulate through that app.
I guess it's possible, but I think like most companies can do that. Like I feel like most companies can like present their data in a way like that's going to make you want to buy it, which is
Oh, yeah.
essentially their job. But I think it comes down to just like digging a little bit deeper.
I think it does get things get so manipulated, you know.
Yeah.
Even like I forget what it was, if it was gas or what, but there was like some type of natural disaster that was like limiting the amount of whatever resource you could get. And people were like, the big investors in those companies were like excited. They were like, hell yeah, this is gonna bring the price way up. This is actually good for us. And it's kind of funny because like, no, it's not good. That's bad.
Yeah.
You know? But they're making more money, so it is good for them.
Right. Do you guys have any regrets over the course of your investing career?
Oh, I think James does.
Other than, of course, like, all right, I wish I didn't put money into that. Like anything, like I guess more like structured, tangible, however you want to word it. Because obviously, on the other end, that could have like whatever Vale, it could have gone like that guy could have been right. Like Elon Musk could have tweeted something about it and it could have gone up 300%.
I think most regrets that I ever have when it comes to investing is not getting in sooner and getting out too soon. That's any time I ever regret with an investment. It's wow, okay, I should have gone in on this sooner, and okay, why did I sell? Because now it's still going up. You know, those
Right.
are most of the times. If I have any regrets, it's one of those two.
I read a study or I saw something somewhere not too long ago, and it said something along the lines of they took a survey of so many people. I can't remember how many it was. We'll say it was 100 people. And the top 10 people, their portfolios that performed the best, they performed the best because either one, they were dead and the money was never taken out, or two, they just forgot the money was in there.
Yeah.
So that goes back to like what you were saying.
Just
Like you're
sit
better
and
off
wait,
just like
just let it
sitting
go.
on it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, at the end of the day.
If I was ever going to get back into the market, like I would put it in whatever app I'm using and then delete the app from my phone.
It's not a bad way to go about it.
So I wouldn't be able to get back because the way I'm like watching these stocks go up and down, like it's not good for your brain.
It's not. No, not at all. Like how often were you checking it when you had that money in there?
Oh, constantly. Like during work, like I was doing a really important event, and like every 5 minutes I'd be like checking.
Like,
out,
it's
what is
unhealthy.
this doing? Yeah, it's like an obsession.
I remember when I first got in, like I probably put too much money in too fast, and I was just like constantly like checking it. Like I'm talking like, and I worked like in food service, so there'd be like people in front of me. I'd be serving. I'd be like, 1 second, I gotta check something. Go check my phone, check my portfolio.
Yeah,
and it's not healthy, like by any means at all.
I think when I had a decent amount in, like I think I had like 0.6 of a Bitcoin at like $8,000. So like
should have held that.
Exactly, but I'm watching it go up and down, up and down, up and down, and all of a sudden it goes up to like $12,000 one day, like a huge surge. I was like, this is not going past $12,000. Let me get it out of there.
Right.
And then if I just like let that sit, I'd be sitting on so much money, especially like the last couple of months, like before the crypto crash. Like it was what, like $60,000?
It was up there. It was close to that. I don't know if it hit 60, but it was pretty close. You're right.
Yeah, so 0.6 of 60 is what I would have had. I guess I'm not good at math, but
40 grand.
Yeah.
What's 0.6 of 60? Jeez.
We cannot do math. We'll do the numbers on the whiteboard, and I'll post a picture for you guys.
So 3/5. Like, I can keep breaking it down, but I can't get a number in my head.
Now, what's stopping you from getting back into the market and just putting a little bit of money every single week, every single month into like an S&P 500 or something like VU or VTI or anything like that?
I'm a beaten dog, Josh.
You're a beaten dog?
Yeah, I can't take the
recover,
punishment
like,
anymore.
Just like the thought of it, like
It makes
completely
me
done with it
sick.
right now.
It makes me sick to my stomach. I'd rather, like you say, you put $100 in a week or $100 in a month or something like that. Like, I'd rather put $100 on the Phoenix Suns game 1 of the
just win
NBA
it back
Finals.
instead,
Yeah, like
like-
that's just the way my brain works. Like, I just don't have. Yeah, like I don't have the brain to just let it go because I'm too obsessive about stuff. So
Fair.
So like even if I'm gambling, like if I'm gambling on a game, I have to watch it.
Right.
You know, like I can't just let it go in the background. Like I got to get this game on a TV. So if I was ever gonna do it, I would have to give my money over to a money manager, like a Fidelity or something like that, and just say, don't even tell me what it's in, just put it in something, and
Really?
then
Wow.
because it's just I get too stressed out about it.
And how long have you been out of the market for?
About a year now.
Do you regret it at all? Like getting
Yeah,
out
absolutely.
of it? You regret getting out of it?
Yeah, everyone made so much money, like almost immediately after I got out, like because Tesla did the split and then it went down for a while, and that's when I started going in after that big split that they had,
Right.
and that's when I got involved with Vale, whatever, and Tesla tanked, and all of a sudden it like doubled, and it's like everything during the pandemic just like exploded in it might have even been like 2 years now that I'm thinking about it, but like everything exploded over the pandemic. People made so much money, and I missed out. Yeah. I'm a dummy.
My biggest mistake is I held it's like 20 or 30 shares of Tesla at like $200, like pre-split. Like this is back in like early on, like it might have been like 2017, and I sold out for like a short-term gain.
Yeah,
that's my biggest regret. That would have come out to like a couple $100,000 or something like that.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
But I learned. I mean, I don't regret it because I did learn my lesson, and I'm gonna have like some stocks that are gonna make me a lot more than that now. But you know, it's an expensive lesson. There's no way to cut that out.
Those are killer. When you can watch like the Tesla and Amazons and Facebooks, when you watch those grow, like Facebook, how dumb are we not to have been investing in that company when they first went public?
Every single day, every day that goes by, there's not a day that I don't look at CNBC, and I don't say to myself, "Why don't I buy more Facebook?" I say that literally every single day, every day.
Yeah, Amazon, Apple, every single person in the world has an iPhone. You know, why wouldn't you invest in a company like that?
Like everyone is addicted to their phone.
Yeah,
like
it's insane.
I don't think Apple's the best stock to put your money in, but at the same time, if we're looking out 5 years, if you bought Apple today, it's hard for me to imagine you not making money.
Right. It just seems like such a safe investment, you know, long term.
Right.
But it's almost like we already missed out though on that one. It's like, I mean, it's a young stock, really. If you think about it, it's only. I mean, when does the first Apple product come out? The 70s? How long has it been being traded for? I don't even know. But it's just. It's not like you missed the wave, you know. The technology is going to continue to grow, and the stocks are going to continue to get more and more expensive.
I think it's just like people just overthink it. They're just like, all right, I'll just get in when it goes lower. Like I'll buy at the bottom, but it's like, do you really know when the bottom is?
No, you don't know when anything is.
Exactly.
You know, it's just get in now, and then don't get out.
Yeah.
You know?
The last person I had on, my friend Blake,
I think he said it best. He said time in the market just beats timing the market at the end of the day. Like,
Right.
I think that's completely right.
Yeah, that's well said.
Let's switch gears again a little bit here. Or do you have something you want to
Yeah,
add?
I just wanted to say, like, if it just seems like if I had left my money in all the stocks that I've had, like, shares of, like, over the years, like, I probably would be the most successful investor of all time. It seems it's like everything that I took my money out of just decided to explode right after I took my money out of. So I'm like a guy. If I say, like, hey, I'm out on this stock, like, buy that stock, get in on that. If I'm in on it, get out immediately, because I'm gonna tank it, or when I pull my money out, it's gonna explode.
what's the longest you've held a stock? Both you guys.
Yeah, probably about a year and a half. But
Really?
like I'm a young investor. Like,
Right.
It's not like I've been investing for very long. So
Right.
when I held that for a while, I think it was like some solar company. Like, I held that for a while, and it kept going up and kept going up, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm good. Like, when you're at a blackjack table and you're winning and you're just like, I'm good.
I'm out.
But it's different because, like, eventually you're gonna lose at the blackjack table. Like,
Right.
Stocks, like, there's no reason for you to lose if it's a good stock. Like,
Right.
that just could just keep going up.
Yeah.
And again, I don't understand that. So
It's crazy to think about, like, because now we don't have a ton of companies that have a market cap of like $1 trillion.
Like, there's Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and that's really it. But I think if we look like 10 years in the future, I don't think $1 trillion is nearly going to be as big of a thing then as it is now. I think $1 trillion is definitely going to be a lot more common, and I think Facebook is going to be the largest market cap company in the world.
yeah,
I
probably.
really believe that.
And I keep thinking, like, how much I hate Facebook too.
Everyone
Like,
I've ever brought that
Yeah.
idea up to, they say they hate Facebook, they hate Zuckerberg, they hate Sandberg, and I can't say I don't understand why.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, Instagram's not going anywhere. That was one of the greatest deals. That was like when when Bill Belichick created for Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Like, fantastic deal. Like, he bought that company for like what? Like $1 billion, $10 billion. Like, Instagram itself would be worth over $100 billion today if it was a standalone company.
How about Google buying YouTube?
That's even
Yeah.
better one. I love that. I just said on the last episode I recorded, if YouTube was a standalone company, I'd be buying that. And it'd be a very big position of mine. Because YouTube's not going anywhere. Like, people don't even watch cable anymore other than, like, sports, I feel. Like, that's all I watch on TV, sports and Sports Center. Everything else I watch on YouTube.
Remember in high school when we were, like, just graduating high school, when everyone was starting to get Netflix?
Yes.
How did we all not just buy all of the Netflix stock out there?
Yeah,
Like,
that-
how did that not happen?
Or Amazon, like,
Yeah.
all these things. Like, it's crazy to think how you look back 5 years and you feel like nothing's changed, but then you're like, oh, wait, everything is different.
It's so much easier to pick up on a trend when you're looking back on it.
Oh, absolutely,
You know?
100%.
It's so
Monday
easy to
morning
miss it.
quarterback.
It's so easy to miss.
Yeah, right.
It's so easy to miss it when it's happening. There's something happening right now that we're starting to use more and more, and it's impossible to pick up on it. We don't know it when it's happening. But
Right.
In 5 years, we'll look back. Oh man, well, yeah, what? Wow, that was everywhere even back then. Why didn't we pick up on that?
Right.
It's the way it goes.
Let's switch gears again a little
Can't
bit
all be
here.
Warren Buffett, you know.
No.
Yeah, you got that right. Even him, I feel like he's kind of getting to the point where the market's kind of outdating him, because other than Apple, he doesn't invest in a lot of tech companies. Although his investing philosophies are like very safe, like needs-based businesses. Like, he was in airlines for a while, like Coca-Cola. He has very safe investments, but I think like the tech stocks, like that's kind of, I don't want to say doing him in because he's still outperforming the market, but I think it's making it tough for him to be, I guess, the greatest of the great, like going forward.
I don't get how you can be that old and still want to do your, like, full-time job all the time. Like, how are you Warren Buffett and you wake up every morning and you're like, you know, I really need to invest in this hedge fund over here. Like, I need to get some money in that. Like, how are you not thinking about, like, just having a nice breakfast in your nice little home with your nice little wife and just retiring?
I was
at that
talking
age?
about this with someone the other day. I literally don't get it. Like, it's tough some days to, like, get out of bed in your 20s and go to work. Never mind, like, when you're 90, which I guess if you love it, that's one thing. But
I think the billions of dollars help too.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's like
true.
a big motivator.
that's true. But still, like, he's obviously got enough money to live the rest of his life. And he's 90. And it's going to sound a little gloomy, but how much longer can he possibly be around
Aren't you going to
for?
die soon, Warren? Like, don't you want to enjoy some of life?
That
Like,
and,
what are you
like-
going to live to, 120?
That, and we've all met a lot of 90-year-olds in our lives. I've never met a single 90-year-old person that can sit and talk to a room of high-class investors of CNBC, Yahoo Finance for 6 to 7 hours with
fantastic punctuation, fantastic language, and not even go to the bathroom over that 7-hour period.
Yeah.
Like, how is that even possible?
I don't trust any elderly person, anything that they say, because it's all made up. Everything that they're saying is probably like embellished over years.
Right.
They're going crazy, most likely. It's like, I'm not gonna listen to you old kook. Except Warren Buffett has been right about everything. It's like, how this guy's still sharp as a tack.
Hopefully he stays around forever and ever and ever. God bless him. But let's kind of switch gears a little bit here. We'll go towards more of a fun one. And I got this idea because Ricci just recently bought a condo, right?
Boom.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about rent versus buy. Like, you bought Fiske. Do you rent or?
I live with my parents.
Okay, so Fiske's got the $0 budget
Yeah,
going
that's
on.
the financially that's the play.
That
So,
is the plan.
I'm
Like,
not so dumb after all.
yeah, he's a genius.
who needs to invest when you can just live with your parents?
So how come you decided to buy a condo, right?
Yep, I bought a condo. I bought it in January. It was sweet timing. Really overpaid, but
So, you'd be paying more now. But how come you decided to buy rather than continue to rent?
well, that's a good question. A lot of thought went into it. Renting for me, I've rented before,
Right.
And I like renting. I think renting is fine, but I like knowing that when I make my mortgage payment, that's going somewhere. That money, even though I don't have it now,
Right.
I can get it back. You know, I can sell and I can get it back. It's all. To me, it feels like I'm moving my money into a savings account rather than paying rent. You know.
That's fair.
It's a good way to look at it. And how many years did you rent for?
Probably 4 years. All just like college houses.
Right.
And then I lived with my parents. So I was able to save while I lived with my parents, and then I was able to put a down payment and buy the condo.
Do you regret renting at all?
No, because you need a place to live.
Right.
You know. So, and when we were at URI, the rent was cheap. I mean, it was like $500 a month.
Yeah, it's like
so
nothing.
It's like, you know, you're not getting a mortgage for anything close to that.
Right.
So it's like that. There, it's like that's a no-brainer. You know.
Now, if you could go back, do you think you'd be more apt to buy knowing you know now, or you think you'd still take the same path and continue to rent?
No, I think I always wanted to buy, and especially with the condo, I like the possibility of renting it in the future. So let's say I live there for 5 years or so, and then I can rent somewhere else, and while I'm renting, have someone rent my place and just kind of offset all the costs.
Condos are very interesting investment properties, I seem like, because say you buy a condo in like Florida, right? You could either rent it out for like a long-term tenant, or you could Airbnb it, and you know, mostly everything's going to be taken care of, like all the maintenance, all those things. So
Yeah.
I find I've been thinking about this recently, and I'm like, maybe investing in a condo like in the near future is not a bad idea, especially if I want to travel, and like it can be like a vacation home. And if I do Airbnb it, it's like, you know, it's all short-term tenants, so I can always just go there and stay whenever I want to go on vacation.
Right. With the condo, I don't feel as tied down to it as I would if I bought a house. I don't think. You know, like a house, you're locked in. You can't really, I don't know. You can, obviously, you still have options. You can rent it if you want, but I don't think I would feel as comfortable renting out a house.
Right.
You know, and then you have lawn care and, you know, maintenance. You know, I don't have to with the condo, I don't have to worry about anything except for what's inside inside the studs, they call it.
Right.
But I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
Like personal preference. Like
Yeah.
six of one, half does the other.
For me, I never even really did like the pros and cons when I was doing. I wanted to buy it and I bought it. You know.
Yeah. Another reason I really like condos is because, you know, in your 20s, your time's so valuable. And I feel like just being able to have like all those things, like the lawn care, like that taken care of, is like an awesome perk. Obviously, you're paying for it, but still, it's like time's like invaluable.
Yeah, exactly. That's I would not be mowing my lawn. I don't think. You know. I would just have
that. I'm like,
weeds everywhere. And,
yeah, I'm just like, I have no desire to like mow the lawn. Like it wouldn't even be a thought after like
Yeah.
so many years. Like obviously down the road, you'll be like, oh, well, I got to start doing this regularly because people
Right.
are coming over and they can't see the house.
Right.
But I don't know. From first, I like the condo move, to be honest. I do.
Yeah, get into it.
It's very possible.
If I were to make a recommendation, I would say, you know, condo has worked out well for me. I mean, I've only been in there for about 5 months, so there's a lot that can change. But like my neighbors are fine, so I got lucked out with that, and like the association is fine, so I lucked out with that. I'm sure there are some nightmare scenarios that you can run into.
I'm sure, but there's like that with everything.
Right,
Like,
anything you do, you can get a crazy landlord that makes life hell for you. So
Yeah.
There's always going to be unforeseen circumstances.
Right.
But it's been good for me so far. So I'm leaning towards on the rent versus buy. I'm leaning towards buy.
What about you, Fiske?
I would go buy too. I sense that you enjoy renting over buying.
I'm kind of indecisive on it. I can see
The argument for both. I think there's definitely an opportunity cost to renting. I think in the stock market you can grow your money a lot faster. But at the end of the day, Ricci makes a good point. Like, you can sell and get that money back. That money's not necessarily gone forever. I don't know. I can see both sides.
Yeah, I know that you hold the opinion that like your 20s are the best time to kind of multiply your money and to multiply your investments,
Yes.
right? See, I see it at the same time that I think that a lot of people blow through the money that they make in their 20s.
I agree.
In their 30s. So, like all that money that you make in your 20s, I think you're going to lose it over the cost of just living your 30s. So it's like if you can get in early and like Ricci was saying, instead of just paying to a landlord who like that money's going in his pocket, you're taking out basically a long-term loan and you're getting something like back for it with the property.
right.
Like he's saying, like he likes knowing that his money is going back into his pocket and he's getting something back. And I think I'm the same way because I don't think I've ever had like a good landlord that I want to put up with. That's another thing.
Yeah, but you make a good point. It's kind of like your boss at a job or like the principal at school. There's always going to be like a sense of like animosity towards them. Like there's always going to be something like, I guess they could do something better. They did something wrong. There's always something in there. But I also think I don't want to say I'm like more towards renting, but the reason I guess preach renting as much as I do is because I always see it like, oh, you're throwing money away if you're like renting. And I'm like, I think there's more to it than that. Like I can see, because I was the same way. Like when I first started getting into the stock market, I was like, I'm buying a duplex, I'm renting out the other side. That was my whole plan. And it's a plan that I plan on fulfilling one day. But at the same time, I dug a little bit deeper into it. I'm like, there's a very solid argument for renting. Like I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I do neither. So I just like throw at this point, like, and it's really helped me out because it's letting me dump a lot of money into my business.
Right.
Like I've put enough into camera equipment and everything like that I could have had probably a down payment on a house.
Right.
So it's nice that I live at home and it's letting me do that. And then maybe a couple of years down the road, salary increases and stuff. Then I get the house and I have the house and the camera equipment, and then I can really focus on like becoming an adult.
Right.
So I'm coming from a different one. Like I think you should, if you can put up with your parents and they're not annoying the hell out of you all the time, like just live with your parents.
I think that's a great third option. I think the hard part that comes with that is like, say you rent for a little while and then go back, or like you're out for a little while then you go back. I think that's when a lot of problems start to stem. Like, and that's when decisions really start to get tough.
Yeah, totally. And like, as soon as I leave, like I'm gonna leave. Like, there's nothing in me that's gonna be like, there's gonna be like a motivating factor saying like, you can't go back with them. Like, figure your life out. Like,
and I feel like most people know when it's time.
Yeah.
I also feel like you can only be so ready. Like it's like when getting married or like having kids, like you can only be so ready. Like there's no way to like practice having a child. Like it just happens.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like moving out and
you
like
do some practice.
Yeah. I feel like whether you're renting or buying, it's like kind of the same thing. Like no one can prepare you to like buy a house and fill out all that paperwork, as I'm sure you can attest to.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's already stressed about just thinking about it.
He's like, oh no, I'm late on my mortgage. And I don't think of it. Like,
you can only be so ready, I feel like.
Yeah. No, I'll do it when it's my time, and I'm absolutely not going to do it in this market.
Right.
So,
That's another reason I think renting's so attractive now, because the market's like insane.
Yeah.
It's like you hear like horror stories. I've said this so many times. Like maybe a house is like listed for $400,000. Someone puts in $450,000. They offer cash, and they don't get it. Like they get outbid. It's like that's just like insane to even think about.
Yeah, I've heard of people people putting in legitimate like over market offers on a house and then getting outbid by like double because the person's coming in with cash.
It's crazy.
People are like waiving inspections just to get in. Like, oh, we won't even inspect it if you take our offer right
Yeah,
now.
I've seen that
is
too.
Insane. I mean, that's just nutty.
Like,
just don't do that.
Imagine doing that. Like, I just can't ever see myself like buying a house without an inspection.
No.
Like making that sort of financial commitment.
Well, a lot of these. So my family owns a decent amount of land that we're looking to sell, and so we're dealing with developers every once in a while.
Right.
Like, and a lot of these developers are legitimately buying a house, waiving the inspection, paying like if it's a $200,000 property, they're paying $400,000, coming in immediately knocking down the house. So who cares about an inspection? And then they're building something over it. Like, they're more interested in the real estate value and then building a more expensive home over top of it than they are dealing with the house itself. So like, who cares if there's mold in the walls?
Right.
Because I'm just gonna knock this
Yeah.
down and build a nicer house over it.
Right.
And then you run into these developers building these McMansion houses,
Right.
what they call, and they're made out of styrofoam and like everything terrible that you could make a house out of. They're making these houses out of, and we're headed for a decent crash soon because the property values of these houses, they're not made out of good materials that are going to last a long time. So
Why are so many being built? Just because it's like.
look at the market.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's it,
wants
like,
one.
yeah.
It's like and then there's probably a circle where these developers knock down a house, put up a house, and then another developer comes in and buys it and then knocks that one down. I'm sure that's happening every 10 years too.
Yeah, that's like. It's crazy to even think about. That makes more sense though to waive the inspection in that case, as opposed to like if you're using it as like to be a full-time resident.
I can't imagine doing that.
Like never, not
Yeah.
once. Like there's not a good enough deal in the world.
Yeah.
Like I feel like. So let's talk about more like general personal finance here for a minute. So what are kind of some of the biggest things that you guys waste money on? Because we all waste money on certain things. We all have those like areas where it's just like I don't care how much this costs. I'm throwing money at it. Like,
Yeah.
What are kind of some of those things for you guys?
So one of the big things that I deal with, again, living with my parents, is like I eat out all the time. Like I'm throwing money like for takeout food at restaurants and stuff because it's like I'm not gonna go and put all my groceries in their fridge. Like I'll get some stuff every once in a while, but like if I'm hungry and I'm out on the road, I'm getting takeout. And it seems like the prices, if we just went over this on our podcast, prices of takeout food are outrageous right now. So I'm getting nickel and dimed like 3 times a night on this.
Like 3 times a night.
That's a lot.
Yeah, sometimes 3 times a
dude.
week. Sometimes 4 times a night. if
That's
I'm really-
crazy.
No, 3 times a week, like at least, and then sometimes you're going out with friends, so it's not just food, and then it's drinks,
Yeah.
and then it's brunch in the morning, and it's like, oh my god.
Like, for me, like the number one thing that I waste money on is drinks. Like just going out and getting drinks. So, I'll get a round of shots, guys. This next round's on me. You know, this and that, just it adds up. You know, that's just money that you don't need to spend. You know, you can keep that money. You don't have to get a round of drinks for everybody. You can just buy yourself a beer. You know, and move on. But the big one that you might have this one in common with me is golf. You know, you want to play Meadowbrook. That's $100 right there.
I
Gone.
work here. Fun fact: I actually work at a country club, so I can play golf for free.
Okay, here we go. Nice. That's not a bad
no
deal.
wonder he can invest. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny. I was saying this to someone the other day. I was saying I played golf somewhere aside from the golf course I work at, and I play by myself most of the time. So it's like I'll never like be like, guys, I don't want to play there because I don't want to pay money. Like
Right.
You want to go somewhere else? I'll 100% go every single time.
But if I'm playing by myself, I might as well just go to the course I work at. But I went to a different course that I don't work at, and I don't remember. It was like
$50 to play 18 or something like that. Like
pretty standard price. And I said to my friend, I'm like, this is like super expensive. And I'm like, oh wait, no, it's not. I just never have to pay. Like, and it's like crazy to think about, but I don't think I would have started playing golf if I couldn't play for free because it was just never a thought to me personally.
And it's like something that I think later you kind of wanted to talk about, but like every time you get a hobby, you get deeper into that hobby, and then you have to buy the nicer equipment.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
And I am the person. I'm a sucker for like commercials because I'll see something in a commercial that pertains to a hobby that I have, and I'm just like, I have to have it. I have to buy that right now. So like I'm who they make advertisements for.
You are.
Yeah, I'm the person. Like golf. So I get in when I'm starting golf. I get a crappy bag of clubs and just who cares what I'm hitting. And then all of a sudden, well, this Schlesinger ball is
Driver head falls off.
Yeah,
like.
driver head falls off. Or I come up with a problem with my driver that's not even there. It's like I have to get the new one.
Yeah.
I have to get a new set of irons. I got to get a new bag because the new set of irons aren't going to look good in my old bag. Like it's like stuff like that. And then, you know, you get a car. I know this happens to me all the time. It's not I don't get a car all the time, but I bought a new car and then I got to get the air fresheners every time I see them. And then I got to get the cool car decals and the floor mats that go with the Jeep products. It's like I get upsold all the time, and that's where I spend a lot of my money on.
Fair enough. I think you're definitely right. I think the place I waste my money the most, and I think I relate to Ricci in this, I think it would be golf if I didn't work at that golf course, but it'd also be like drink, because it's so easy to just say, all right, I'm not going to get anything to eat, I'll just get a drink. And then maybe you're like, all right, I'll have one more. Maybe you take a shot. And I've definitely done a better job of like limiting that. Like usually if I go out to eat, I'll just like eat. I won't get any drinks. And it's like, first of all, this is going to sound like complete bro science, but it cuts the bill significantly. Oh, yeah. Like I went out to eat the other day with my girlfriend and a couple of her friends. I just got a meal and it was like, my bill was like $13. Like that's like one drink in some cases.
Have you noticed, like we were going over this on the podcast the other day, like you can't get a $9.99 sandwich anymore.
Nope.
They're all $14.99.
Always.
Why? It's a regular sandwich. There's nothing special on your BLT other like that's new from the $9.99 edition.
I agree.
You didn't upgrade anything. The ingredients aren't better.
You know what I really hate? I don't know if you guys are going to be able to rationalize with this, but I hate going to like fancy restaurants, and I feel like you get like this much food for like 10 times the price. I like much would rather go to like Dan's Place or like Cornerstone and get a meal there for like half the price and have it be like a larger quantity than something at like, I don't know, some fancy restaurant I'm not going to get any food at.
Yeah, I pretty much just don't go to the fancy places.
I like that idea.
No, but you're right. Pretty much the more you pay for it, the less you're getting. It's kind of nutty in the food industry like that.
We do fast food reviews.
Yeah, we like to. And that's the beautiful thing. The beautiful thing about the fast food is the prices haven't gone up at all. So it's the standard dollar menu that doesn't change.
That is beautiful. So now we kind of talked about inflation a little indirectly there because Fiske eats out 3 times a night and the prices are going up. But how do you guys feel about like lifestyle inflation? If you guys see it a lot. Now, obviously, there's a difference between lifestyle inflation and just, I don't want to say like growing up, but just taking on like expenses that you need. Like, for example, like Fiske, when you like get your own place, you're going to have to pay one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Like, and I wouldn't consider that like lifestyle inflation. I would just consider that just taking on responsibility.
Yeah, well, it's also like what your friends are up to too. Like if you're rolling with a bunch of friends that have money, they're going to want to do more expensive stuff.
Right.
You're gonna they call it like keeping up with the Joneses.
Right.
Like, you're going to want to go to the nice bar that they're going to. You're going to want to buy the nice drinks that they're buying. And it's like you might not be balling on that budget. You might not have that baller budget. But it's the same thing. I think what this pertains to is like the more you move up in life, the more you end up spending.
Right.
Yeah, so instead of buying a house last year when everyone's buying houses, I was like, let me put a healthy down payment on a car.
Right.
But like I didn't need a new car, but I was like, well, I want people to look at me when I'm driving down the road and say, he's not driving a beater, he's driving a nice little car.
Right.
So it's like everything you keep moving up, and then you got to buy the next thing and the next thing.
Even car prices, that's like another thing that's like skyrocketing. Like if you look at like the MSRP for some of those, it's like no sense. Like it makes no sense. Like I don't even understand. Like you buy a used car and that's going up in value. Like,
I've had my car for a year. I could sell it right now probably for profit.
I've heard so many stories like that. It just like blows my mind. It's like insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. But I think it's they can't manufacture cars right now. They don't have enough chips. So it's just like demand is still there and the supply is down.
Yeah, I feel like it's like what you said, Fiske, just like keeping up with the Joneses. Like you see that like so often for so many people, and it's hard for people to kind of stay in their own lane and be like, I shouldn't buy this, but I'm going to anyway. Mm-hmm. And I see it like all the time. Like sometimes you might ask a friend like, do you want to go get a drink? Or do you want to go out to eat? And they're like, I really can't afford it. I really shouldn't, but I'm gonna keep going anyway because my friend asked me to go and I want to go. Right. Like, and it's just I don't know.
That's how I end up 3 times a night. It's like
at
3
KFC.
different friends saying, hey, come out for a drink.
Sure.
That's crazy.
For me, it's like it's month to month with as far as like the lifestyle stuff. Pretty much, it's if let's say it's tight for me 1 month,
right?
After the mortgage and the bills and everything, then I'm gonna I'll be a little more frugal,
right?
But typically, as frugal as I am that month, Now the next month I'm gonna have some money. I'm gonna have some spending, and then now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, Ricci, big baller, you know?
Big baller,
Hey,
Ricci.
yeah, he's got some new jeans, got some, you know, new hat, new shoes. But I don't know, it just all depends. And I think Fiske did nail it with the keeping up with the Joneses reference. It really is what your friends are doing, you know, and who you're running around with, and you can't say no to everything.
Right.
You know? Eventually, otherwise you're not gonna be friends with those people.
Right.
You know, if you can't do anything, then why are you hanging out?
Yeah,
But-
sometimes you might have to just make a choice at the end of the day.
And you do have to spend money. You have to spend money. You know, you can't save everything. So.
Yeah. Now, that kind of hinted at like an interesting concept that I've really thought about a lot. Do you guys think there's really like a thing as moderation? Like, do you think that's a true thing, or you think eventually, like, for example, say you're like, all right, I just want to drink in moderation, and maybe you don't drink for like a month. Then you're like, all right.
I don't know if we know anything about that one.
Just,
Yeah.
just for example here, just like humor me.
Yeah.
So say you don't drink for a month, and then you're like, all right, I'll just have one drink a week. I'll have a drink on Friday. Then you're like, all right, make it 2 on Friday. Then before you know it, you're back to drinking every single day again. Do
Yeah.
you think like most things are like that, or do you think moderation like truly exists?
I think it exists. I think it's a lot of self-discipline, you know, and that's not something everyone has very easily. I mean, I don't. I know that like I've tried out like intermittent fasting and stuff like that, and that takes like a legitimate amount of self-discipline.
It does.
And you just sit there and your stomach's eating itself at 9 p.m. You're like, God, I wish I could have a snack. And eventually, unless you have a lot of willpower, you're going to have that snack at 9 o'clock. And the next day, you're back. It's like, well, I had one last night. Like, I'll have one more, and then I'll get back to it. And eventually, you're down the rabbit hole. I think that moderation exists with people with really strong willpower. But I think it's part of being human. Like, you're going to do what you like doing, you know? If you have fun doing it, if you have fun drinking every night, like, and your brain's getting that dopamine hit every night from drinking, you're probably going to be someone who drinks every night.
Yeah. I read a book, The Power of Habit, and it really broke down like why we're so addicted to like some of the things we're addicted to. And a lot of things, like a lot of like say addictive substances that like we can all think of off the top of our head. The argument was made in that book that it might not be them that's so addicting, it's more so the habit. So it's like, say you drink every night, like you might not be addicted to alcohol, but you are at the same time because you have that habit built. So what you have to do is replace that drink or replace those drinks that you're having every single night with something else, with a different habit. But the hard thing is finding that habit that you're going to, I guess, enjoy just as much.
Yeah, a lot of people... One second, all right? I know I've been...
I need a third mic.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that are... they say weed's not addicting, right?
Right.
But a lot of the time, people aren't addicted to the weed. They're addicted to just wanting to go smoke something.
Right.
They just want to have the feeling.
Right.
You know? And if that's weed, if that's tobacco or whatever, they're addicted to that feeling that they get when they get to kick back and smoke.
Right.
You know? So that the power of habit, is that the same guy that says that you have to make your bed in the morning and then get into that habit's the best thing you can do in the morning?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
It
there's
might
some
be, I'm not
military
sure.
guy that's like, just make your bed in the morning, get into the habit of that because it's going to make you build healthy habits. And like once you have that bed making habit, you can decide to use your habit making skills for stuff that are also more important throughout the day. So something cool.
Interesting.
A little food for thought, you know.
Richie, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I just the whole thing on the breaking of the habits. Like, if you know you replace a bad habit, you want to make sure you're replacing that bad habit with a good habit. Rather than,
Exactly.
you know, if you're trying to quit smoking, and I think what we're seeing a lot right now is people trying to quit smoking cigarettes, and they pick up the vape pens, and then it's now you can't put the vape down.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
it is just kind of a catch-22 there. You got to be careful with what you replace your habit with. You can't just, you know, substitute another bad habit for a bad habit.
Right. Like the example he used in the book was someone really enjoyed like cookies. He enjoyed having cookies on his lunch break. So he tried to replace like the cookie with an apple. But if he had tried to replace that cookie with like
An
candy
ice cream
bar,
sandwich.
yeah, or an ice cream sandwich, like probably is not going to be like the biggest difference. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a couple of quick ones to wrap up here. We got like one more, and then we'll do like a fun one at the end. But we all went to high school together, and there wasn't really like a personal finance class or really any guidelines, anything in that curriculum, which is, I always think it's pretty interesting because, you know, you might not have to deal with calculus at every single point in your life, as Fiske can attest to over there. But everyone's going to have to learn how to manage money at some point. So what do you guys think the benefits, the potential benefits that like everyone as a whole, not just like any of us, but everyone might see from having a mandated personal finance class in high school?
That's a good question. I think it would help certainly certain students and young people, but for me, I don't think there's anything that I learned in high school that I like really retained and used long term. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would really. You'd have to be interested in using what you're learning in that class.
Right.
And I'm not sure for me if I was interested in using anything I learned at that age. So. But I'm sure it would help certain people,
Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends about this, and we agreed like it would help certain people, but at the end of the day, I feel like some people are just ignorant.
Yeah,
like I don't think it would help them.
I think a lot of it is growing up. A
Yeah.
lot of managing your money is learning it on your own. Making mistakes and growing and that type of stuff.
Right.
But like this type of stuff that you want, like investing and retirement funds and this and that. That's stuff you should be learning about. There's no reason that you're not teaching that in school. So they should be teaching it. I think mandated.
So I have like a couple friends that went to high schools that they started learning Spanish in like second grade, and they would have a Spanish class every year, and by the time they graduated high school, they were fluent.
Right.
So I feel like that would be kind of what you would have to do with personal finance. It's not a one-off class. Like I took a ton of electives in high school.
Right.
I don't remember anything from those things. But if it's something that was kind of bred into you, like maybe in fourth grade you start doing like, I don't know, you go to the supermarket and build your budget around
Right.
and clip things out of the supermarket tabloids or whatever it's called, the flyers. And learn how to build your budget, just how to go grocery shopping. And then grade 5, you move on to something more and more and more. It's like, instead of having geography every year, why don't they do something personal finance so every year so that you're building on those skills as you go up. And then by the time that you graduate, hopefully you'll be fluent in personal finance.
That's a good idea. I've never thought of it that way, but it makes sense because think about it. Like when you're taking calculus your senior year, right? You don't start off taking calculus out of the blue. You start with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and you build your way up. It just makes a lot of sense. In addition, I also read somewhere that like it's much easier to learn things when you're younger, which is why some people start learning Spanish in second grade.
Yeah.
So maybe by starting them young, they'd see like a really big difference from that. We'd see a lot more people in society that are financially literate.
Yeah, and then you don't get a 23-year-old who's buying call options without any idea what's even going on there. Maybe I would have covered that in 11th grade.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Fun one to finish up here. Dogecoin. Have you guys gotten in it? Do you own it? Do you like it? What do you think of it?
So I am kicking myself every day. I mean, it's taken a little bit of a tank lately, but I don't know if it's gotten up since it went down last time. Like, is it down on the map for real? 10 count?
I think it's I think the low it hit was around 15 cents.
Yeah.
I think right now it's like maybe 25 cents. I don't check it very often, but
Yeah, no, I mean, I wish, again, like I've been so out of investing because I'm a beaten dog, like I said, like
Right.
I just can't get back in. But man, was I kicking myself because like I was hot on the streets with this thing. Like back when it was like below a penny, way below a penny, I was on Dogecoin.
Were you really?
I was like, this is going to be awesome because like
Did you own it?
never did.
Oh man.
But I was keeping track of it. It's like I was just watching from the sidelines. It's like I think Elon Musk said it. It's like people will always go to the most entertaining option.
Yeah,
And
supply and demand.
Yeah, and it's like Dogecoin is entertaining because at the very least it's a meme. Like it's something to be fun about and go talk about at the water cooler in the morning, It's like who wants to go talk to their friends about Coca-Cola stock?
Right.
Hey man, you see Coca-Cola? No, you see that crypto coin that nobody really knows about that has a face of a dog on it. You see what was happened there? That's fun to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's cool, and I think it'll go back up. And I think there'll be another one that's going to come out, like Catcoin or something, that's gonna explode, and everyone's gonna be like, "What the hell is this?" And then I'm gonna miss out on that too. But
I think it's just dangerous. I feel like all these things, like AMC, like these Wall Street bets thing, they're just dangerous because people are just throwing money around, and they're like, it's gonna go to the moon. But for like every one great Dogecoin millionaire, there's hundreds of people that have lost their life savings on it.
With Dogecoin, I was never interested in touching it. I'll never touch it, but it is fun to watch it. when it was below a penny, or like it was like a tenth of a penny. It was
way down there.
It almost didn't even exist.
Yeah.
Like at that point, it's like, yeah, what do you have to lose? Throw $100 at it, and see if you can get lucky. But it's almost like when Leicester City was like 5,000 to 1 odds to win the EPL, and they did. Like, yeah, why wouldn't you make that bet? It's 5,000 to 1. Sure, why not? Throw $10 at it. But I don't know. That's the way I always look at Dogecoin. But I can't imagine like with any type of confidence putting money into that stock and seeing, or a crypto, whatever they even call it, and seeing what you can do with it.
Like, yeah, it's like one thing if you like you said, want to have some fun with it, just maybe throw a little bit of money in there and see what happens. But it's another thing to be like, I have the highest conviction that this thing's going to like $10. Like, I just can't possibly see a scenario where that's actually going to happen.
I think it was kind of interesting what you were saying with like, it is dangerous because there are people losing a lot of money.
Right.
What I think is kind of funny is like, I have a friend that is pretty into the stock market, and he's always posting his wins on social media and stuff. It's like, these guys aren't posting their losses.
That's the big thing.
Like, and that's so dangerous for a lot of people getting in, and they're seeing this kid who's on the surface, like every stock that he's investing in is going up, up, up. And they're like, oh, I got to get into this. And it becomes like a casino. Like that's what a lot of people, they say that they're using the stock market as a casino. And it's like, you would never go into the casino with $5,000 and all your life savings and then just throw it around the crap table without knowing how to play that game.
Right. 100%.
So it's like, why there's people doing that, and it's because of all these influencers on Instagram and everything saying, hey man, just drop all your money in it because if you follow me, you'll make money. Post your losses, you cowards.
I also think it's interesting sometimes because like I feel like you could ask, like, say me for example, like, what do you think of this? And I'd be like, I own it. I think it's like a great stock to own. And you might be like, yeah, Josh doesn't know what he's talking about. But then I feel like some people are going to go on Instagram or Wall Street Bets. They're going to be like, Danny Phantom 877 said this stock's going to $100, so I better get in right now.
Yeah, and people will always try to reaffirm their own opinion anyway.
Right.
So like I remember like one time like I was like Googling, can I fly my drone in the rain? And everything was saying no, 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 no.
Don't do that.
And then I finally got to one that the guy was like, yeah, you can do that. And I'm reading it. I was like, yeah, sorry. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go fly it in the rain. And he's like, yeah, now that you're done reading that, I'm going to tell you the facts. No, you absolutely should not. You're just here because you wanted to reaffirm what you wanted to see.
Yeah.
You wanted to hear someone say, yes, fly it in the rain.
I read a study like that once, and I mentioned this before, but say you're at like a crossroad, right? And you're like, should I go left or should I go right? Whichever way you decide to go, your brain's going to like convince you that you made the right decision.
Yeah.
Like whether it's left or right, whether it's buy or rent, like whatever the case may be, whether it's fly your drone in the rain or don't fly it in the rain.
Yeah.
Like your brain is literally going to convince you that you made the right decision, which is pretty interesting to think about.
Yeah, your brain is out to get you.
Yeah.
Completely out to get you.
I'm reading a book right now. It's super interesting. It's like your mind and like your body are like separate things, and your mind essentially like treats your body like a puppet, and you need to like really gain control of your mind. It's weird, but at the same time, it's like if you have like really bad anxiety, for example, it does make a lot of sense how that, I guess, concept can rationalize with a lot of people.
Just put us in computers already. Just like download me into a computer and then just let the numbers run it. Like at this point, because my brain makes a lot of bad decisions. So might as well get some help.
Well, guys,
This is a lot of fun. Thanks so much for coming on. I'll link your podcast down below in the description. Do you have any final words to the camera?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Maybe we can have you guys on again sometime. That'll be a lot of fun. It was nice sitting and catching up with you guys.
Yeah, we'll get 3 mics next time.
Yes, we will.
And we'll just tear the roof off this place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.